Uh, Fellow Americans, members of the House of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, members of the Commonwealth of the United States, Commonwealth of England as well. It's 4th of July, and by tradition we celebrate there in the United States the independence from Britain, which have always been an empire of freedom. The independence of the United States from Britain was achieved completely in 1848. It is important because of the nature of pre-existing colonies, which are today called the Commonwealth, which was kept alive through the efforts of those who came to these shores. One of whom was the Englishman, Benjamin Franklin. It was the wisdom of the founding fathers. Though they might reject the terms of governance over the United States, that they were still essentially part of the old country, coalition. So it is that throughout the history of the United States, we've always had or referred to four states as Commonwealth states, especially Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Massachusetts and Kentucky. What does it all mean? It will mean that U.S., despite being old, was at some point a colony of the old kingdom. It also leads that those who witnessed the independence from foreign rule in the 60s are also part of an experience that forms the character of their nations. We begin, however, with a look at U.S. and its history, with emphasis of U.S. abroad, in war with other nations, the U.S. in the war to understand their own identity charted. That is the Civil War, and the war with Mexico, the war with those seeking the manifest destiny. Yes. And the problem of forging a society not unlike those from Europe, but free from human denature, from gender oppression, and from the culture of indoctrination. These exposures may have forged the character of our country that might have influenced the attitude of this United States to the West, show Britain that the independence so desperately won must have meant a lot. They have kept the light for the flames to remind us of the proud and the humble part of being Americans. Yet we also mention that nothing prepared us in the United States for leadership than the character that have left us in his wake, the commitment to pursue liberty to ends of mankind and to overcome evil and tyranny in anywhere and for many years. We will not always see how that independence from Britain and its monarchy helped to forever change the very ideologies of this nation and charged their children to greater and more defining them. It's not right to souse the old injuries where the failures of this Constitution called United States without so. But in others, I would have mentioned, I would be happy. For those who witnessed the 1976 200-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence would have seen themselves part of a milestone which emphasized the liberty of our country. And though we may have failed, though there were perhaps hard times, though there may perhaps be even issues of not being sure about certainty. We were hard, we were fast, we were clear that we can defend our country and protect the liberty which many people around the world still desperately hope for. If we argue that those active and were eyewitnesses to that event would have had problems now or perhaps then, and perhaps coming to terms with America, that if it were the conquering nation or the monarchy, with all this mandate, will be said to have failed to have acted differently. It will be a worthy dispute that will, however, bring the two nations into our own mindset, the Britain and the United States, that these, however, may be alike in honor, in discipline, in hope, in ancestral link, and in future, in faith, but they are fundamentally different, determined by their own will to exert their right to also rule. We may not also. I wondered if the experience of history, through the eyes of those who lived it, the eyes of those who may have written, would have emphasized that the landscape which the brotherhood of the West and US now enjoy may be revisited and may be questioned if many of us living today would not indicate that perhaps their own homeland, Africa, is an example or a model for all that have transpired over the years. Some of us, like those who have been here longer than others, may be confronted with what Africa perhaps would mean to us, and still long to know the place as a part of us. We take it that the legacies enjoyed were the legacies of human nature. On one hand, the histories of sometimes destitute oppression and independence, which the elders of both nations refer to the evidence of things not seen. We will see that the United States is not a perfect system yet, but that the triumph of those who wanted civil rights in terms of voting was America reaching back to its past to redeem its commitments to the individual mandate, to the right to also to rule. We want to mention that today that we would have met the mandate to rule either through the ballot or through the commitment to history or through those who don't fall under the administration as people representing the head of government. By history, the head of the government of the Commonwealth of Great England and those of the United States have always been the head of the royal family. It should not lead that the head of England is always the King of England, but that history makes it clear that the reasons for the Commonwealth that someday when the owls will gather from all over, Britain will decide who will still hold their mantle and their office. I would argue that the right falls on the United States, which is the automatic, and the Britain, unlike United States, may have warred for in the past or against the crown, and may have forced their own means, their own ways, and perhaps in those they rule. But they were no different because they were committed to a process that was also not perfect, therefore subject to new review. Though we have seen wars and pestilence, and strife, and conquest and patricide, treachery, We've seen defeat. We've seen resilience. We've seen the rest of us believing in ourselves as the altar for all mankind. That the altar of Christ for Britain and through United States was achieved by our own conscience and on the right to also vote. Here, we mentioned that the mandate of 2016, the co-president of the African nation, Nigeria, was also co-president of the United States, and also the president of our nation of Canada, almost all in one. This broke nearly every record that was considered surely the end of but perhaps still by the circumstance of having so exercised the history about the Commonwealth of Britain and about Africa, it all is challenges. We rise to the occasion by this single act of not only seeking and to remain part of the past, but emphasizing the right to rule, the interpretation of all the struggles of those of our ancestors and yours made it to this shore or elsewhere is now open to the public your interpretation. But we are certain that even in these days, the remaining families cannot claim to have inherited so perfect a tradition. But U.S. on the other hand would not have argued that we are ultimately the only mother or synagogue of all democracy. I will confront those seeking to join others in the political elections for the prime ministers of Britain, that they may be faced with the daunting issue of Britain exercising on its own the right to do something else. That we're committed to 1.5 trillion. That we're sending the BOE to the Caribbean. And it is our expectation that the Exchequer and the Commission will aid our commitment in Africa and in Asia. These prime ministers whose names we may not really need not mention, can be worthy that much is required to those who must be given. But to Canada, to Nigeria, to Denmark, to Sweden, to Norway, and in extenso, Germany, though not always traditional families or friends. The aim have been set when Samson and Muka. Mine perhaps redeem his commitment to your tradition. That's it face to face. The point John McCain, as President Clinton, as President Barack Obama, and Attorney Blair to see if there are questions that need to be answered, if the arrangements that need to be made. It will happen in Canada as we travel, or in Denmark, Sweden, Norway, in Nigeria, in Germany, we have. And we sail together, as the young gentleman once said, forth to December 25th, where everything we have hoped for, everything we have lived for since the days of Septimius Severus, King Arthur, William the Conqueror, and despite the problems of Cromwell, those who inherited knew what your man, the priesthood will be complete. That we were not forced. We were not compelled by others. We were not ruled. Therefore, we are more than good, not ruled by sword. If this day is the beginning of better days, our introduction speeches should be short. Our audience will be short, and we'll have the question and the answers to those who have to go down to respectfully handle the issues that's so far. I wish the families concerned all the absolute the budget is to arrive on the December the 25th. Yes, hope that we will not be carried away. We will not also fail to form our children. It's not exactly what course we have.